Fluttershy had only recently taken up art as a new hobby to help her distress from the daily tolls of life. On such a day as today, she found herself in her cottage, staring at a blank canvas. She had her pencil, she had her paint, she had her brush, she had her canvas, and all that was needed now was inspiration. Fluttershy did not find inspiration. Inspiration had found her. Fluttershy steadied her hand, her canvas on the stand, standing blank and bland, begging for color, begging for ideas, thoughts, love, and inspiration so grand. But for now, it stood blank and bland. Fluttershy grabbed her pencil and paused for only a moment. She brought her steady hand, ready to add life to the canvas. No struggle, no strife. She poured her thoughts and ideas onto the canvas. She worked purposefully and diligently, losing herself in the tantalizing thoughts of her own artistic vision. But as she lost herself in her work and effort, she failed to notice that the canvas was blank. Her heart sank. Fluttershy was rightfully confused and visibly upset, but she would not be deterred. Without hesitation, the beautifully young and vibrant woman reached for her paint and her brush, a new instrument for her creative rush. She dipped the brush into her paint, her palette, aligned with every color. And so she began her work. Calmly did she bring her paint to the canvas, measuring each stroke with care and precision. The colors blended. The lines intersected, all together in a symphony of beauty. Fluttershy's mind raced at all the splendor she would create, but in her passionate endeavor in consuming work, she failed to notice that her canvas was blank. Her heart sank. Fluttershy clenched her fists in aggravation. In her mind, she thought,
what could ever be worse than a canvas so blank?
So voluntarily blank, lacking any meaning, any purpose, any love. Fluttershy plunged her hands into the buckets of paint, scooping the essence of her work and fingering it with fervor unmatched. Splashes of color and passion, amalgamating together in a flurry of determination. Her mind raced with frustration as she grabbed her buckets of paint and dumped them upon the canvas. But in her rage and seething anger, she had failed to notice that her canvas was blank. Her heart sank. She sank as well. To her knees did she sink, tears streaming down her soft cheeks. All she wanted to do was to give this canvas love and purpose. She washed the paint from her hands and wiped her disappointment away. Fluttershy picked up a needle and pricked her fingers, one by one, until tiny droplets of blood formed upon her fingertips. Surely this would add color. It must. It will. Fluttershy flicked tiny specks of crimson passion, splattering the void with every ounce of strength she could muster, dragging her paths along. humming out a sweet song of masochistic passion, forging in her mind the fine creation from imagination. But as she lost herself in the pain and discomfort, she failed to notice that her canvas was still blank. Her heart sank. Fluttershy sat there, sobbing and bleeding. She sat there, drained and devoid of any reason to continue her fruitless struggle. Fluttershy had grown desperate and believed she had little choice in the matter. She believed that the only way to succeed was an even bigger splatter. She stood and walked to her kitchen. From her drawer, she hoisted a knife high in the air, so sharp and so cutting in its nature, but not quite as sharp and cutting as the pain she had felt and the damage that had been dealt. She stood before her canvas once again and refused to give up. She ran the blade across her skin, along her wrists, along her chest, along her face. The pain was excruciating. The pain was liberating. The pain was satiating her desire to give this blank canvas all she could offer. Her blood poured. Her essence sprayed, filling the room with coppery ire. The world would finally see her art and know that she had made it. For everything she could ever think to give would be on the canvas. But in her agony and in her suffering, she had entirely failed to notice that her canvas was blank. Her heart, weakened and fading with each beat, sank. Knowing nothing else to do, Fluttershy lamented. All she had desired was to bring beauty to this canvas, to show it love, to show it color, to give it a meaning. All of her dreams, all of her aspirations were now but empty and hollow in the dark chasm of her mind. Her body was now sapped, with nothing left to give. She had all but lost the will to live. Was it so wrong to wish and hope for something more? To want to create something bigger? As the last flicker of light faded from her vigor, all of her thoughts were fleeting as she finally pulled the trigger. Fragments of her skull, chunks of her brain, pints of her blood battered the canvas. Mercilessly the cheek lied with her canvas. Fluttershy fell to the floor. She was finally finished. Her artwork, her masterpiece, was finally completed. Fluttershy had been forever immortalized in one simple work of art. Applejack had noticed Fluttershy's sudden absence as of late and grew concerned as to the whereabouts of her friend. The farmer thought it best to give her some space as she did not know what Fluttershy may be going through. It wasn't necessarily uncommon for her to hole up in her cottage for extended periods of time when she was upset. Applejack eventually decided to check on her timid friend and approached her quaint cottage that lay on the edge of the ever-free forest. The door was locked, so she kicked it open. The scene before her made her pause. Her face turned the color of gauze. The crippled mess of a woman once alive, still thriving and striving, torn asunder by her own doing. Applejack saw all of this, and her broken heart sank. Only then did she look up to see a canvas that was blank.